government. And I know in our December live stream, you talked about how to go about completing the FAFSA. And so why don't we go back and just give our viewers tonight just a quick overview, because now that they can actually do the form, they may have a few questions. So let's start. What is the FAFSA and why is it important for families?
Okay, so the FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It is a student's application for federal, state, and college-based financial aid.
So
Right?
how do families go about completing the FAFSA?
So for starters, they need to create an FSA ID, so otherwise known as a student aid account. So the student who is completing the FAFSA and at least one parent need to each create their FSA IDs. They'll go to studentaid.gov, enter their information, and allow at least 3 days for that FSA ID to be verified by the Social Security Administration. After those 3 days or so, then they'll log into studentaid.gov. And whether they start with the parent portion first or whether they start with the student's ID first, neither is wrong. Although in the past a week and a half of us completing FAFSAs, we feel like it's a little bit more advantageous for the parent to start the FAFSA and then invite the student. The student and parent are called contributors on the FAFSA form, and each completes their section, which will be linked through an invitation process. When the student and parent approve consent, their federal tax information will be securely transferred from the IRS onto the FAFSA form. So Reagan, the FAFSA is intuitive and it will really walk you through the process, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah, it's not as daunting maybe as it seems once you can actually get going on it. And for our viewers, if you want more guidance, we have a FAFSA tools page that can be really helpful. And we'll go ahead and put a link in the comments now so you can check that out on your own time. But there's tons of great information there and really gives you everything you're going to need so that you can be prepared. Jackie, so technically, we're in a soft launch phase, or the federal government has called this a soft launch phase of the 2024-25 FAFSA, which, as you said, has been open, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. What are we seeing and how is this soft launch impacting families?
So when families go to log in, some families might get an error message when they try to file the FAFSA or to complete the FAFSA. So, if you get an error message, just log out and try again later. Don't panic. You'll have plenty of time to complete the FAFSA, although we like to have you do it as soon as possible. The feds are limiting the number of people who can complete the FAFSA at one time while they're working through some of those technical issues. So, as anything else, there's always a few bugs to work, or little hiccups. So they're just trying to kind of eliminate those as we go along. So
okay. Yeah, they'll get it, they'll get through it. And keep in mind for our audience, we're recording this live on January 10th of 2024. So if you're watching the replay on YouTube and it's February or March, this last little bit of information may already be outdated. So hopefully everything is running smooth as silk when you're ready to if you're watching this then. Yeah, we hope. If you'd like more detail about how to file the FAFSA, do go back, go to our YouTube channel after this presentation and watch our December live stream because there's tons of great information in there as well. We'll go ahead and add that link in the comments so you can easily find that video too. So let's dig in a little bit to what happens after the student files the FAFSA. What is the first thing that they can expect?
So normally, this is not a normal year, but normally a student would receive an email 3 to 5 days after submitting the FAFSA, and that would come from the Department of Education, Federal Student Aid. This year, it's going to take a bit longer, so we just ask families to be patient. Right now, they're telling us that the FAFSA information isn't going to be pushed out to the colleges until the end of January. So they probably aren't going to see that email until, late January, the first week of February. That email, again, it contains It's called your FAFSA submission summary. It contains a link actually to studentaid.gov in which the student would log back in and they would be able to see the FAFSA submission summary. The FAFSA submission summary indicates if the student was selected for verification. It also is your indication that the information, of course, was passed on to the college. The college received your information. It will list a student aid index, and it will give them an estimate of, Pell Grant eligibility if they qualify and student loan eligibility. So to be clear, this is not their financial aid offer. It is just a cleaned up document that families can review of the information that they provided on the FAFSA initially.
Right. So that's kind of a lot to unpack. So maybe we can dig a little deeper. Let's start with the student aid index. Can
Okay.
you describe that and explain it a little further?
Okay, so the student aid index is the results of the FAFSA form. It's a baseline number, basically. So the colleges you listed on the FAFSA will receive your results. They will take that SAI number and they will put it into their formula to determine the types and amounts of aid that they can offer to the student. So the colleges use a standard formula and then they subtract that SAI, which is part of that formula.
Right. So, and you also mentioned verification. Can you explain what that is to our audience?
Sure. So not every student is selected for verification, but it is a way for colleges to verify the information that some students supplied on the FAFSA form. So sometimes it's because there might be some numbers that don't look quite right, maybe a larger family size or number in college, or maybe it family receives perhaps child support and they want to verify that information. So those are some of the things that they might verify. If a student is selected for verification, the college will let them know what information or what documentation they are requesting from the family. So then that information needs to be sent back to the college so the college can check over and make sure everything is accurate as reported on the FAFSA form. Most colleges will send that request either via the student portal, or they might send it via postal mail or even indicate via email. So students really need to get in the habit of checking their student portals once or twice a week. They need to check their emails, any emails coming from the college or any postal mail coming from the college. Open those things up, read through it. If they're requesting information, make sure that you're getting that information back to the college as soon as possible. One thing that I really want to point out is if a student selected for verification and the college is requesting documents, the college will not offer the student financial aid until that verification process has been completed.
Right. So keep track of your stuff, everybody. Check often.
Absolutely.
So how do students know if they qualify for financial aid?
So the college will post their financial aid offer on either their student portal or they will mail the student. Sometimes the first year students will receive it via postal mail. So the colleges take their cost of education, they subtract that SAI, the results of the FAFSA, to determine a student's financial need. And then based on how much financial need the student shows, the college could potentially offer that student scholarships, grants, work study, or student loans, even Parent Plus loans. So depending upon what the student qualifies for. All the types and amounts of aid they're being offered will be on that financial aid offer that they receive from the college.
Right.
And I do want to point out, if you list colleges on your FAFSA, make sure that you have applied for admission and been accepted. Any colleges that you do not apply to and you list on your FAFSA, they're not going to offer the student financial aid. So if you want an honest offer of financial aid, you need to make sure to apply to that institution.
Yeah, super advice. What other advice do you have for families who may need help paying for college?
Well, I can't stress this enough, but continue to apply for scholarships, as many scholarships as the student meets the criteria for. So we often tell students, try to apply to 30 to 40 scholarships. The more scholarships you apply for, the more chances you have of receiving some of that free money. Also, be careful about what you borrow in student loans. So if you do need to borrow, only borrow what you need, because that money can stack up rather quickly over the course of the next 2 to 4 years while they're going to college. And you'll also want to complete the FAFSA each year the student plans to be in college to see if they qualify for any types of federal aid.
Right? It's not one and done every year.
Unfortunately.
I ran across a really interesting statistic today, and it was a report from the National College Attainment Network that Nebraskans left over $21 million in Pell Grants on the table in 2022, so our previous year. So just by not filing the FAFSA, this is Pell Grant money, which is free money to go to college. So let's get
And
that amount
to
down.
that, Reagan, I would say it is a free form to fill out. We're a free service. We will help you fill it out if you'd like. And you are not under any obligation to take out the types of aid that the college offers. So if you're in a financial situation where the college maybe is only offering student loans and Parent Plus loans, and sometimes that happens, you do not have to, you're not under any obligation to accept those student loans if you have another means to pay for college. So again, free form, we're a free service. It's better to have it done and not need it than to need it and have to scramble and get it completed.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this has been super helpful, Jackie, and I think we're going to move on to some viewer questions. But before I do, we had a bit of an audio glitch at the very beginning, so I want to make sure people know. Go ahead, if you want to put your name in the drawing for a cool EducationQuest water bottle or coffee mug, go ahead and do that now. Also, go ahead and post your questions, because we're going to go ahead and get started taking some of those, and we'll announce our winner at the end. So Jackie, one question we have here is, how does a college determine the cost of education?
So the colleges look at the average amount a student spends on the tuition and fees, the books and supplies, housing and food, and personal and transportation. And that's how they determine, how to or where to set their cost of education.
Okay. That's helpful. So another question, what can I expect? I'm sorry, when can I expect to get financial aid offers from colleges?
Okay, so bad news. Unfortunately, those are going to be a little bit delayed this year because of the late FAFSA opening. So we're hoping, I know when the colleges receive the students' FAFSA information, they're going to work as hard as they can to get that information out to students as soon as possible. But we're looking, it's probably going to be more like late February, March, and even into April. So again, the student just needs to continue to watch their student portal for offers of financial aid, or email, or their postal mail, once or twice a week until that financial aid offer appears.
Okay, great. On to another question. How do I apply for a student or parent loan?
Okay, so let's attack the student loan first. So the financial aid offer will indicate what types of loans the student is being offered and how much under each type of loan. So a federal subsidized Stafford loan and a federal unsubsidized Stafford loan. So the college will provide the details about the process, but the student, let me back up a little bit. Anyone who is wanting to take out a federal direct student loan for the first time, there's three things that need to happen. They need to accept the loan or loans on their financial aid offer from the college. And then if they're a first-time borrower, they are going to have to complete a master promissory note and complete entrance loan counseling before the college will disperse that money onto the student's account. So generally, if a student accepts and says, yes, I want to take out this loan or that loan or both, The college will provide details about the process. They generally give links in the student portal for the students to go, to each of those, the entrance loan counseling and the NPN. But basically, they're going to go to studentaid.gov. The student's going to log in using their FSA ID and then complete those two tasks. Now,
Great.
for the Parent Plus loan, if a parent wishes to take out a Parent Plus loan, they will also need to complete a master promissory note, but they will do what's called a plus loan application. It's actually on studentaid.gov. The parent would log in under their username and password. And the form is actually listed as, or the name of it is Plus Loans. And it says Grad Plus and Parent Plus. So you would click that, you would select Parent Plus, and then proceed and complete that form.
Okay, super. We get another question from an audience member. What if a scholarship wants a copy of the FAFSA, but the deadline is before you get your FAFSA results? So they're filling out a scholarship application and they want the FAFSA information, but they don't have it yet. What should they do?
Okay. So a couple things. Number one, in the state of Nebraska, there is the Susan Thompson Buffett Scholarship, which does require a copy of that FAFSA submission summary, that FSS. And of course, the process is they submit the FAFSA, it goes to the Federal Processing Center. The Federal Processing Center is waiting to push that information out till late January. On the Buffett, specifically on the Buffett application, all components of the Buffett Scholarship are due February 1st at 5 p.m. Central Time. But the FAFSA submission summary has until March 15th at 5 p.m. Central Time to be submitted. So everything else has to be submitted by February 1. The FSS can be delayed and submitted by March 15th. So we're really hoping that those colleges are going to get that information out as quickly as possible. I'm not certain, I know that's a big one that requires the FSS. I would say work with the scholarship provider. I think people need, scholarship providers might need to be a little bit more flexible this year for those, especially those seniors in high school. But I would say generally when you apply for a scholarship, there's contact information. And if the student hasn't received that FSS, I would contact the scholarship provider to see, what action, if they would push that date back or if the student's allowed to submit that after the fact.
Right. I think a lot of providers out there are, following along just as we are with what's happening with delays and certain things. And so I think they're trying to be as accommodating as possible. So yeah, great advice, Jackie. Go ahead, give those folks a call and just let them know, you're still waiting, and I'm sure they'll work with you. So, well, we have a time for one more question here. Will next year's FAFSA be this late again? Is January our new start date?
No, we pray that this is the only year it is delayed. No, actually the FAFSA should open on October 1st of 2024. So this coming October, anybody filling out a FAFSA for the 25-26 academic year can begin that process October 1. So you're filling it out almost a year in advance of the student going to college. You'll need to complete the FAFSA. Of course, every year the student plans to be in college or plans to attend college. So again, yep, we're hoping for the best, but I think all the bugs and all the technical worked out by October. So the 25-26 will have an October 1st opening date.
Yeah, a little easier, a little less stressful for everybody involved, we hope so.
Absolutely.
So if we didn't get to your questions tonight, do go ahead and reach out to any of our offices for free help. It's always free. And you can find all of our contact information at educationquest.org. Also, be sure to follow us on all the social networks. We're on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube to stay up to date on all the latest developments with the FAFSA and college planning in general. And don't forget to sign up for Countdown to College. It's a short weekly email that keeps you in the loop on everything college related. And we're going to put a link in the comments right now. It's just at the bottom of our homepage. So be sure to sign up for that. Now to the fun part, right? The winners of our giveaway for our coffee mug and tumbler tonight are Lori Shantner and Gretchen, and I'm going to butcher this last name, Gretchen. I apologize in advance, but it's Banjnoth, I believe. Congratulations. Go ahead and send us a DM with your contact information, and we'll get those prizes mailed out to you as soon as possible. Jackie, thank you so much. I know this is a crazy time of year for you. We're so grateful for all that you do to help Nebraskans get their FAFSAs filed and get everybody to college. So thanks for being here and answering these questions tonight. And to our audience, we'll see you all back here on Wednesday, February 7th, this time at 4 p.m. for our next live stream, which is Show Me the Money, all about scholarships. So have a great night. Thanks, Jackie.
You're welcome.